Hello, and welcome back to the Shed Geek Podcast. A quick word about our studio sponsor. One thing the team at Shed Pro has been hearing lately from shed businesses is that many of them aren't struggling because of lack of demand. Things just kind of stall out. The lot is busy, but growth flattens, and it's not always obvious why. Usually, it's something small. The website, the follow-up, how customers interact with you before they ever pick up the phone. So Shed Pro put something together called the Shed Sales Audit. It helps you get a clearer picture of where you might be losing people. It takes a couple of minutes, and if you want to dig deeper, their team will walk you through it. Here's the thing, 9 times out of 10, the fix isn't more leads. It's a tighter operation underneath. That's the rest of the Shed Pro platform. Configurator, point of sale, RTO contracts, inventory, deliveries, and dealer tools, all in one place. From website lead to final delivery, one clean workflow. Start with the audit at shedpro.co/shedgeek. Thank you, ShedPro, for being our Wednesday studio sponsor and for building something that helps the industry.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast, and thank you for listening today. We do appreciate the time that you take to dedicate out of your day to listen to the podcast and to gain insight from all these various professionals around the industry and all the different services and products they offer. Years of experience and conversations. Super enjoyable now, even in year number 6, at where these conversations take me. I'm just astounded by them. Today, I am joined by Castle Buildings, and we're going to give them a chance to introduce herself. But before we get rolling, just a way to stay plugged in with us, as you know, to give me a call if you have questions or comments. If you'd like to be on the podcast, we'd love to tell your story. We believe that your story is his story. It acts like a testimony of your experiences in the industry to help better those of us trying to build community and ultimately serve people. So 618-309-3648, info at shedgeek.com if you would like to email us with suggestions, show topics, or guest appearances, and www.shedgeek.com to find out more about the different things that we are doing in the industry, from rent to own to finance and marketing and consultation and, oh gosh, I don't know, structures. We're just busy over here. And the Facebook page, give us a like, follow, share. We'll do the same for you. Check us out on the Shed Sales Professionals group. Or if you'd like to listen on the call-in landline, or you have a plain community friend who would like to, 330-997-3055 is the number. We'd also have a full layout of all of the episodes available to you if you would like that. Just join our newsletter for access to that. And if you don't know how to do that, give us a call. And oftentimes we can have people on there that not only are podcast guests, but they have services and products that are exclusive options within the industry. So thank you. I know it's a long introduction. Welcome to the podcast, Castle Buildings. Listen, I just want to give you an opportunity. Introduce yourself, your company. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you come to know the shed industry in conjunction with the metal building industry already. So the floor is yours.
Hey, well, first of all, thank you, Shannon, for providing this platform. Personally, I found it very helpful to us. I'm in the carport industry, and I take notes every time you're on the air. So thanks first of all. And so a little bit about myself. My name is Cesar Castillo. I'm with Castle Metal Buildings. We're located in Texas. And I've worked in the metal industry going on 20 years now. Was privileged to see this industry start from backyard operations into an industry that went coast to coast. I really like your show because over the time I've gotten to partner with a lot of shed dealers, and I've really seen the both industries grow together and learn from each other. I think the carport industry has a little bit more to learn but we're getting there. Now, also something that I find very inspirational about this industry and why I'm passionate about it is that I got to see this start from basically small mom and pop shops. You just have to have a good location, or sometimes small businesses that were looking for an extra way to bring in revenue, and it turned into a whole nother business for them. So that was something really nice for me to go around state to state, traveling, getting to meet new people, and learning about their experience and grow from there. Like I'm saying, everything has been done in both of the industries, I believe, in a good faith honor system. You provided the location, we'd get there with our carports, and then somebody else would come there with the sheds, or vice versa. Sometimes the sheds came first. But that's why I'm here. Today I had the opportunity to be here, and I just want to let you know where the state of the industry is at right now with our carports, how we work together with shed dealers, and why choosing the right company is very important uh, for your success and for something that's going to last 20 years from now.
That's great, Caesar. I, uh, I, I guess in my head, if these are not sister industries, they're at least cousins, right? They work so closely
That's
together, and I think
right.
we might have almost been so small-minded when we started with Shed Geek to almost be Structure Geek, maybe because we see the complementary bleed over from one industry into the next. Um, they're two different products. They serve a similar customer, and it's exactly like you said. I've seen people start adding lines of steel buildings, and like it has become a major part of their business by just adding that product. And but I've also seen them maybe run through two or three different companies before they find the right one. So what you mentioned here today and finding the right partner is extremely imperative. And then you do have national brands, or even if unrecognized, national shed brands, national steel building brands, but they don't all always work together. There's sometimes a mixture of the way the different companies operate. But one thing's for sure is it's almost hard not to sell steel buildings if you sell sheds. And maybe if you're selling steel buildings, you start to want to, I've seen it work both ways where they bring the other product into the mix after getting started. And this is why I believe they work so well together is, you're ultimately trying to, make a dollar. You're trying to pay rent. You're trying to cover expenses and do all these things. So these other products become either a small or in some cases a large part of your portfolio. And I have actually seen folks sell more steel buildings once they realized that that was an option for them. And I've seen it the other way around with
That's
sheds,
right.
but I,
That's right.
I do think it complements, it brings people to your lot. You're the 20-year vet. What do you think? And how do you choose the right partner? What are the things you should look for?
Well, there's many things. There's simple things. Like saying we we hear about this. Sometimes you can't be too redundant with it, even though it's there every day. Bottom line, one thing is you have to have the service, right? Customer service. So nowadays, as like saying we both grown in the industry, we might be a little bit more professional, more sophisticated, and interconnected. That now even the systems have to be in place when you get more volume customers, you can no longer have a notepad and sticky notes laying around everywhere. You need to be more professional. And so that's first of all, that you have to have good customer service. I would say customer service starts before the sale's even made. Um, when you in our industry, uh, you would be surprised that when you drive around a town or even city, where you find the shed lot or the carport lot, there's going to be two or three down the road from there. So that's where, first of all, the person that's behind the desk, that's in that office, they make a good impression. Now, there's always, even though it seems cookie cutter, We have our basics, double carport, 18 by 20. Everyone has it on the lot. We have our 10 by 12 storage sheds. Seems simple, but every customer is unique. Every customer has a different need, and that's where good customer service starts. Um, we're getting to learn the customer what they need it for, what's their future use for it, and if there's a question that's maybe you have a doubt, who are you going to call to get the right answer? Are you going to call the office? Do you have someone that you specifically asked for, or is your sales rep the person that you call and he has the answers for you? So that's part of it before you get started. Now, um, after ideally, when you choose the right company, uh, you what you do is you write up that sale. You can do it through DocuSign, turn it in. You receive an email back saying, "Hey, thank you so much for your sale. We appreciate your business. We'll be contacting your customer to start getting acquainted." So there's a process that the customer service has to follow through. I would say right there, that communication that started with the dealer, within 48 hours, your customer has a call and they're getting to know, okay, this is the number I should expect a call from. I can ask for Kara in the office, and she's going to know what stage my building is at. Um, and that's part of it. Now we got scheduling after that. That's still customer service. It's still in the same office. Now it's important that the dealer has someone they can trust. Otherwise, they're having to filter these messages back and forth when communication is lost. They did the sale, they need to move on to the next one, helping the next customer. So that's where a good company comes in, that we're we know where we're at with our project, if we need to hold off for a few weeks because there's site prep that needs to be done. If someone's going out on vacation, do we want it before they leave or after they leave? That's part of it. And then it leads to the final product, right? That still service is involved. Who is going to show up at your property and install this building for you? Do they have good communication? Are they patient because they have they might have five other steel buildings on their truck to get to, but are they still courteous? Are they going to answer questions that might have already been talked about and make sure that everything is right before they start putting up a structure? That's phase one. You'd be surprised how many things could happen with that one, just customer service involved. One thing that could be easily, um, you know, uh, I would say overlooked, but if it's talked about, the customer will be happy and there's good reviews at the end of the day. There's always middle ground, just that communication is key. Um, that's for our customers. Now, again, there's another thing that's dealer support, I believe is very important. When we have, like saying, dealers that sometimes this is the first time they're getting in the industry, in the business. So you never know what background you might have. Like saying this industries have allowed many people that were either school teachers, now they're retired, uh, auto shop worker, they had a shop, a tire shop. Maybe that was a little bit slow and they focused on the sheds and carports, and now that's what they feel that's what they're going to do. So having a good dealer support system that's going to have the time to train you adequately on the systems that we have, our sales process, on the technology now that we have. Personally, we use Idea Room company, have great community to design our buildings. Uh, Little by little, it's becoming more, um, let's say it's user friendly, but easier for you to even place an order through the program. Uh, and the dealer needs to be trained on that. Before COVID, I would say 99% of the companies were still using carbon copies and a flyer to do your price. That's a thing of the past. There's very few price lists out there in the carport industry. So getting to know the systems, and um, knowing how far, what we can promise our dealers support, that's something very important. Personally, here in Castle, I take a lot of the calls because I'm out on the field meeting our dealers. We want to make sure that they succeed. If they succeed, we succeed.
This episode is brought to you by ShedSuite, the complete shed business management software. From inventory and quoting to e-commerce and delivery scheduling, ShedSuite keeps your whole operation running smoothly. Today, leading shed businesses are focusing on digital marketing and building their online presence because that's where the customers are. That's why ShedSuite now offers full-service marketing. Everything from ads, social media, and SEO to stunning websites, branding, video, and even photography. The best part? Your website pulls straight from your ShedSuite inventory. Update it once in ShedSuite and it's live. No more managing two systems like with WordPress or WooCommerce. Ready to grow? Go to ShedSuiteServices.com to learn more and schedule a call. Let's grow together.
People matter. So that's another important thing. I would say when choosing a company, maybe even before you uh, put in that form that you're interested in becoming a dealer, give them a call. Give them a call. See who picks up the phone, how they treat you as if you were a customer, because that's how they're going to treat your customers. You need to know that you can call somebody or that your customers are going to call someone that's knowledgeable and that's happy to talk to you. That's happy, even if it's the same question again. It doesn't matter. You gotta have good personality and someone that's accountable there, that can really guide again a customer through the process again, even though we might have gone it a few times already in our shed lot. Um, Something that's super important uh, with choosing the right company is for let's say it's the crews that you have. Do you have qualified employees to go out on and actually erect the building? Um, that's something that right now uh, in the industry, now that you have a lot of online brokers, there's a lot of online brokers that will bid it out to whoever can do a little bit for a little bit less. But as opposed to the shed industry where everything is built in-house, the quality control is there. Now we have humans that are out on the field. Again, you're working with right now 100-degree heat today here in Texas where we're at. Oklahoma's the same. People are out there, they're a little bit frustrated. They want to get to another job, but having the right crews is super important, that they're properly trained, that they know about safety. Sometimes out here, even the smallest carport, there could be something that if you overlook, there's power lines, underground utility lines, or just heat exhaustion, and you don't want, someone working that's unqualified on your property. So that's very, very important. They need to be professional. Um, Experience matters a lot, and accountability. Um, Now, with experience and accountability, it really leads back to your reputation if you have the wrong crew out. Um, there's warranties, just like in the shed industry, it's all in-house. You see the plaque, and it even says who was the builder. Now, in the carport industry, um, again, you have subcontractors most of the time that are out on the field, and that's where responsibility and accountability comes to play. Because if they're, it's hard to be perfect every time, especially when you're working with adverse weather. But if something happens, if there was a missed screw on the roof, if maybe a trim got damaged because of the wind, you need to know that first of all, your company is going to send someone back ready to fix it, and not rush the job, even though it's going to take up an hour of their time, and have a crew that's going to say, you know what, I I own up to it. This is what happened. Let's find a solution. We'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks. Now, that's some, 2 to 3 weeks is pretty good, but we'd like to be out there within a week if possible, because we don't want it to hang there and have the neighbor come over and look at it and say, "Hey, everything looks right, but look at that hole right there," or you know. that's where a good company hires good crews that are loyal to their company, that's going to be them with them for years to come, not someone that's jumping from one company to another. And again, you see a lot of that when it's you're bidding it out to the lowest bidder. Now, again, in order to succeed right now, uh, you have to do a lot of marketing. Even, I'm a big fan of organic. If I don't have to pay for it, I'm not going to do it. And so um, when you set up a new lot, the first couple of weeks, you're going to see a lot of foot traffic, sheds, carports. Now, after that first month, you might say, hey, you know what? It really slowed down these couple weeks. What's happening? And that's where our dealers need the right tools, the right training, so they could adapt. If it's slow, I always tell my dealers it's time to kick your feet up on the table and get the keyboard and let's start working on our organic marketplace ads. And here you go. I'm going to provide you with so many pictures. Here goes 50 pictures. When you're done with these, let me know. I got another set for you. And just keep on doing it. Don't give up. That's how it's going to drive people to your lot. And if and if they can't drive to the lot, we can still close it. Here are the tools. Let's send them this design. If we need to, give us a call in the office. We'll send a DocuSign for you. That's something very important that's really missing in with a lot of companies. We just expect to drop off a material, drop off a display, and that it's going to sell itself. It's not like that. Like I said, there's two, three people down the road with the same product, similar product, but what stands behind it? Um, Now, I feel that those are super important things because it just hits right to the core with I would say with the shed industry as well. A good shed company is going to have the qualified staff, the qualified employees and reps. Uh, and there's a lot of investment that goes on into these slots before you make the sale. You're talking about thousands of dollars that are invested on a property, all in good faith. Somebody believed in you. And, we want to make sure that you're set up for success. So that's something important too, that when you choose a company, um, what do they have? How much skin do they have in the game, right? Did somebody just show up because they saw an old carport there and said, "Hey, you can sell and don't worry about that company"? I would say look at what are they willing to do for you. Okay, if personally, if I'm going to an old lot, maybe there's no signs on that property on that those displays. I'll walk in and they tell me, Caesar, you know what? I'm selling for ABC company. Sorry, I apologize. Didn't mean to come in here and try to convince you to go elsewhere. But here's my card. If you ever decide that you want to go a different route, we're willing to bring new displays for you. We want to show our work. That's how much faith we believe that we have in you, that we can work together, that we're willing to bring our displays here for you. And I guess finally, there's the reputation. You want to have a company that has some experience that you can go back on and talk to other dealers, talk to customers. Easy enough. Get on Google, check out their reviews. If there's a pattern, you're going to see the pattern. And it's not just this month, it goes back years. And just Google, there's many things, but you can really see the history of a company and where they're going. Where have they improved? Is it still the same redundant problems, or have they fixed that? Because it's now the reviews are positive. Now they're raving about your quality of work, your office, the communication, um, and you can really see that with the quick Google search. Um,
Oh no!
Sam, what's going on? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine, Lisa. I was just trying to get a screwdriver and all this other stuff fell down. I'm ready to go buy a shed so we can have some space in this garage again.
I agree. I keep looking at the shed Mr. Jenkins bought. Let's ask him where I got his.
Howdy, neighbor. We're wondering, how do you like your shed?
I love it. It's exactly what I needed, and I couldn't have asked for better service.
And where did you get it?
I can't remember, but let me check. Something this nice will probably have the builder's name on it somewhere. No, I'm sorry. I can't find a name anywhere.
Well, we finally got a shed.
Yes. I just hope we're happy. The thing is a lot more shoddy than I expected, and I'm sure I told them I wanted a window, but they didn't have it in the paperwork, so I couldn't argue. Boy, is this a lousy shed. We haven't even had it 2 years, have we?
Barely. It was just a bad deal all the way around. Mr. Jenkins told me the other day that he likes his shed so much he wants to get a second one, but he still can't remember where he got it.
Your product is your best advertising. At Identigrow, we provide nameplates that ensure your quality products are never forgotten. Identify your products, grow your business. For more information, visit identigrow.com.
Or give them a call at 540-283-9193.
Some things that aren't talked about too much because we don't think about it at first when we get a new building, I would say a new car, but where is this steel sourced? Or, how are these prices sustainable? So with us, we like to brag that all of our material is American sourced steel. That's super important. Things keep on evolving. Even in the shed industry, you went from hardy board to LP siding, and it just keeps on improving and improving. So you want to know that material that's out there is really going to back you up. And who doesn't like to support American jobs? Let's keep it here. And in the steel industry for a while there, it was just steel coming in from everywhere, and the prices went down with it. So, that's how I feel that if you choose the right company, you're going to have those ingredients and you're set up for long-term stability. You're going to be with a company that's sustainable. And as long as you want to be in business, you put in your little grain of salt, you'll be successful and you'll be able to scale. Many lots that start off, saying I've seen it to where there's a rancher. He has acres frontage road. He decides, my wife wants to start working and do something different, or she wants to make some extra cash for vacation, and they open up a shed lot and a carport lot, and now they have 5 locations around the state. So it's team up with the right person. Ask about warranties. I would say call them like if you were a customer ready to buy, and that's what you're going to get.
You have laid out like a beautiful synopsis of this entire process. And I love that you started with customer service, then dealer support, and then talking about delivery team, because those are things that are definitely imperative to me. When we start out, first and foremost, with the customer, like we provide a product to a customer, making sure that communication is top notch. You've already addressed that. I can tell you from my own personal experience, I like when I go up to my 30, 40,000 foot view and try to look down on things from a topical perspective instead of a more granular perspective from a topical place, that's one thing that I experienced regularly was, in carports was a lack of communication, a lack of the customer being aware. Hey, 4 to 6 weeks, we'll have that to you. Well, at the end of 6 weeks, if the internal conversation was, well, it's going to be another 2 weeks before we get out there, no one would communicate that with the customer. The customer's wondering, and the customer ends up calling you because you are a representative. If you're a shed dealer selling steel buildings, you are a representative, but you oftentimes have very little control over what the actual process is made, and you sold the cake, but you don't have the batter. You're not the one who puts the ingredients together. You can't control delivery, you can't control communication, and ultimately it is your Facebook reviews or your Google reviews that oftentimes gets the unfair judgment, or maybe fair judgment, because they're, like you said, who you choose to partner with, their back end services, how they take care of their dealer support, what their delivery team looks like, that can help make or break you if you are the face of the company. Um, you know, I see the shed industry mostly as a prefab product. It's manufactured. They either put out, like a lot inventory, or they'll build a new construction shed based off a 3D configurator or something along those lines. And I've heard different companies tell me a variation of, we sell 50% inventory. We sell 50% new builds, 60-40, 70-30. I've heard different splits go in different ways, but by and large, it seems like if you averaged it out without any data, going off my gut, most people sell about 50% new builds, 50% lot inventory. I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way who don't match those numbers. I'm going on an average here. However, what's interesting about carports is these are display models. You're selling off a display. Nothing is delivered down the road like a prefab shed. You have to send a crew out. And that changes the dynamic, because now you don't just have someone selling the shed and then they see the shed hauler whenever they bring it to the yard. You actually have a crew come out there. And I have heard all the horror stories, Cesar, as I'm sure you've heard, from simple things that are real issues like language barriers, right?
Yes.
To campfires and beer cans left behind, and that is not just a representation of the metal manufacturer, but the shed dealer who chooses to sell that product. And I got to tell you, like, of course I'm going, those are some of the horror stories, don't get me wrong, but I've also heard really, really great testimonials where the on-site crew has been able to connect an even deeper relationship with the customer than even the salesperson. And I've gotten feedback where customers have called me back and said, I just love this crew that you sent out. I mean, they went above and beyond. I feel like, the temptation to not only switch as a shed manufacturer, selling steel buildings from one different supplier to the next, I feel like that same temptation exists in the delivery and setup team to switch from one company to the next. And I believe that if you can get the cream of the crop, if you can get some of the best builders who are also very personable with the customer, man, I feel like you're going to have a dedicated shed seller, carport seller through a shed lot forever. Because that's the one thing that I hear is the most common complaint is, what is the customer experience outside of my control? I don't know what to do with that. I sold them the carport, but I don't see it getting delivered. I don't see it getting built. I don't see what the final impression is. I don't see when they forgot a piece of trim and they run it back out there in a week. Or they say, we'll get you on the next truck 6 weeks from now. Like you can control so little of the process. I love that you've actually hit it head on. You've took it head on today and said, these are the things that we focus on in the dealer support side.
I got a big day tomorrow. I have a fully finished 18 by 40 cabin that's going to require 2 to 3 mills to get it delivered. Way back in the sticks and down a dirt lane. With all the rain we've had lately, it's going to be a mess. Well, it needs a bigger mule.
Well, when you talk, Cardinal listens, and you asked for it. With its diesel-powered 69-horse engine and capacity to move 40,000-pound sheds, the Mule 9069 is ready to turn your big days into just another day in the good life.
Ah, that's right. You're talking about the one they had up in Michigan at the shed show. That monster mule, that thing was awesome.
That's right. It's the one you've seen at all the Shed Holler barbecues.
Man, yeah, there's nothing like a little diesel donkey to make my day go so much better.
So Shannon, over these 20 years, I've seen those struggles when it was only four companies building. Like you're saying, you had the cream of the crop. A lot of gray hairs and a lot of hard work and knowledge that they had behind them. Now, since in the shed industry, carport industry, every month there's a new company. So um, that's right now with the you know, depending on how you feel the economy, but uh, there's been a big race to the bottom to see who can outbid the other. And what that leads to is really uh, it's hard to retain good crews, good employees, because if they're going to work twice as much for the same building, they're thinking about it again because the body, you're out there physically picking up steel every day. The body takes a toll, and they're either going to go to someone that's has better pricing, that's more sustainable, where they can feel I can be here 2, 3 years or longer, and I can still do the same amount of work, going to give it my all. I have these 2, 3 guys that always jump on the truck with me, and they're happy because we make sure that we always get a hotel to stay in. I got them cold waters and sandwiches if we need to. We can take a break, as opposed to a lot of these startups. What I've noticed is that you have a good installer that says, you know what, I can do this myself. Uh, and then when that company starts growing, and now you went from just servicing a 5, 6 hour radius, and now you're in 5 states, and you had to bring on a lot of more people to work for you. That's where it really gets tough. And personally, we cover a 6 to 7 hour radius because of that reason. We like it to where our crews can be back in our shop twice a week, and one thing, you want to be back home at least over the weekend and Wednesday if possible. That way you can spend some time with your family. At the end of the day, we all go to work for that reason. A lot of times it's because main reason is for the family, and then the other reason is we got to pay some bills. So um, that's that's been part of our philosophy that in order to expand and offer in so many states, you got sometimes you sacrifice the quality, or who you're going to send out there to live up to the expectations. If it was 4 weeks out, if it was 6 weeks out, you need to have enough crews that can do it and are not rushing, that they drove 12 hours and got there at 7 o'clock in the morning and are going to work another 12-hour day. Um, that it takes it is a big effect on the body, but then ultimately it's affecting the quality of the work out there. So
Mhm.
um, sometimes big coverage area doesn't mean that
Covered well.
the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that when we reach that we can that we've outgrown this area and we can now service another state, well, it's better to set up shop there with like-minded individuals that can uh that can run that shop, and let's hire some more local crews and expand. But that's been a something too that in our industry, in our shed industry, it's is or in the carport industry, that's where there's something has to give, um, and choosing the right company. I would say even look into that. Okay, if you're going to service 4 states away from me, what's how far is your manufacturer, or are
Yeah.
there even more dealers in your area? So when you have the right dealers, that allows for you to get back uh, in a timely manner for any, either a new sale, or if you have to do a reschedule and go back there for an odd reason. So that's also important that you have a company that's going to be honest with you. Now, you don't want to have a dealer every town, right? You got to give each other room to succeed, a good radius, and put in the hard work to train, and you'll have good lead times, and you'll have happy people working for you. If I have a crew that's finished the carport here today, right now in Kemp, Texas, and they have to drive an hour, they're okay with it, because that gives them a little bit of time to rest. They get something in their stomach, they get to the next job super happy, and we can work our way, scale our way down to Houston that way. But what I've noticed is that we have, personally talking to dealers, is that just getting back to that customer, or that one small order, that 12 by 20 carport that was out in the middle of nowhere in another state. Now it's 8 weeks because you're expanding too fast. So if you have a good radius, I can guarantee you'll have a good relationship with that company. You can even go visit them in case something goes wrong.
I've seen I've seen that very thing. As you're what interests me is the way online sales have begun to change. You know, when you used to go out and throw out a couple of display models, open up a dealer location, that served as a nice billboard as well as advertising. When you could throw some signs up, for castle structures, or actually, I'm saying that wrong. Castle Buildings Inc. So let's say I'm using Castle, but there's so many more manufacturers out there I know. But used to, you could go out and you could open up 4 or 5 locations, put up a few displays. You would work this deal out with the landowner. And maybe you went to pre-existing shed locations. Maybe you went to other locations to find that. Now, I'm curious at how you handle this, or even what your thoughts are on manufacturers are putting up display lots, and online sellers are able to use those displays to serve as a physical example. And now these online sellers are selling for a multitude of companies, but your display is ultimately being used. Do you feel like that's a fair collaboration? Do you feel like it's fair to limit them to only selling yours if you're going to be willing to put the display out there? I know that's a hot topic inside of online selling for carports. I just feel like you'll be the guy who'll give us a good, fair explanation of that.
Good man. I'm happy you asked that question. And it all goes back to the honor system. Okay. Online, it's pretty much a fair game. But they're risking their reputation on who they're sending their orders to. Now that physical location, I'd like to ask, same thing with what I've noticed is that in the shed industry, um, there's more loyalty, right? There's more loyalty to the brand, and you rarely see a lot that's shifting from one company to another. Um, I feel that the industry is at a crossroads right now, where and I, as a business owner, um, I've had small businesses myself, that sometimes you feel tough, that it's, again, we always say the economy, but when things aren't going 100% your way, thing is say, hey, well, let's find somebody that's lower. We'll sell that way. But for us, I feel that there should be more loyalty in the carport industry. Um, if you had somebody that believed in you and invested their hard-earned dollar to bring in demos, you should do it with them 100%. And whenever you feel that it's not profitable for you, you want to go a different route, ask them to take their displace and bring in another company that's willing to do it. That's the way I would do it. And again, it all goes back to the honor system because I I believe there's nobody in the shed industry that's selling for multiple companies, even if it's online. So, and really, you know, if you have a good area, if you're in a good location, um, you don't need to sell all over the United States. You know, you can focus on your area. Focus on your area. There's plenty of people there, and get to know your neighbors. They'll trust you more than anybody that's online. But I really thank you for bringing this up because that's a big reason why some companies fail. If you're out there investing for somebody else, it's not going to be sustainable. This industry is not going to last. And one thing is that everyone in the carport industry is seeing this, that there's a problem, and there's many ways that they're trying to adapt, but the industry will correct itself. And if, there's different options. We all want to have dealers, but if the industry has to correct itself and go back to that grassroots way of doing business, where you can have a shed lot, and it could be your local hardware store, the feed store, but somebody that's going to be there for the long run.
If you're in the shed business, you already know the hard part isn't selling. It's keeping everything organized once the orders start coming in. Quotes, dealer orders, change requests, delivery schedules, it adds up fast. Consumer Aligned Logistics, or CAL, is software built specifically for the shed industry. It brings orders, dealer management, integrations, payments, and delivery tracking into one system so nothing slips through the cracks. CAL works with tools like IdeaRoom, ShedPro, and Sensei, and it's designed to adapt to how your business actually operates, not force you into a rigid process. Pricing is volume-based. As you grow, we grow. If you're ready to replace spreadsheets, paperwork, and disconnected tools with one platform built for sheds, head to calcanhelp.com and schedule a demo. Cal helps shed businesses scale with clarity.
Now, we do accept online dealers, but it's something that, from the get-go, we have our service area. This is where we're at. And ideally, I would want them to be just with us, right? But once you have an online business, it's super hard because you're going to be, I do a paid ad, and if I don't restrict my ads to my service area, I'm going to be getting calls from Georgia, from New York, from California. And so there's opportunities everywhere. But I do just as well when I'll focus my area here locally. And let me tell you something else. If you have loyal dealers, you will not be competing against your own company. Because right now, everybody has Facebook, and you're going to see a lot of sponsored ads from the own company that you represent. Now, when you have trust, when your carport company trusts you, they will be funneling you those leads. And here's why. With us, what makes us special, what makes Castle Metal Building special, is that we like to focus on the building itself, on the providing the building. We're not the best salesman. I'm going to be honest with you. I've gotten 100 leads. I might close 5 of them, right? But in my office, their specialty is treating customers right and getting them on schedules, making sure that the shop has the right information. If there's a last minute change, that we all know about it, that the customer's made aware of. That's really what a company should be focusing on, not competing against your own marketing dollars. And again, like I said, there's maybe this is a topic for another for another
No, that's the
podcast.
same.
But
That's similar to sheds too. I mean, what you're talking about is something that you see in any retail market, where especially you can get started, usually in selling sheds or steel buildings for minimal, a minimal cost to get rolling. So a lot of times it's, you do see the manufacturers ask for a commitment in, that loyalty and spending those marketing dollars, or you'll see co-ops. But I think you're absolutely right. The company that's willing to funnel the leads to their dealer network, it's just going to not only build and create loyalty from the dealer to the manufacturer, but from the manufacturer to the dealer. You want to pour into dealers who are selling more. You want to give them more leads because you're in the business of making buildings and doing a good quality job. You're not in the business of retail. That's why you opened a bunch of retailers up, is you want them to do a good job. So funneling those leads to them helps to create that trust brand authority that you need among your network. And I've heard that. Excuse me. I've heard the horror stories also in the shed industry, the same way, where a company is like taking the leads that come. And, you know, I suppose there's different ways to look at it. Like if the dealer is not going to accept speed to lead, if they're not going to follow up with that lead quickly, um, does it make sense if the manufacturer is paying for that lead to then take that lead back over if they're not seeing
I
a
agree.
dealer network committed to having the best interest, of the company in mind? Because maybe they decided I'm retired, I work at my own pace, and I'll get to that lead when I get a chance. And if I lose that sale, it's okay. Well, that doesn't feel very good for a manufacturer who's dumped a lot of money in inventory into your location, in advertising into your location, in banners into your location, and now marketing dollars for paid ads. So, like, I do believe that there's a rub there where those are things that you have to solve. But this is why I love still in year 6 doing the podcast, is because we have those hard conversations on here. We get varying opinions, varying thoughts. And I think that the more you talk about it, the more a solution tends to come to the surface because we have people that's actually addressing the issue instead of letting it stay out there and miscommunication start to take place. Like, man, I heard Castle Buildings, they do this or they do that. But the experience is different than what you heard.
Yeah.
That's just that. I mean, that's my small take. I love that you're actually addressing
So,
the conversation because most people just don't want to touch
so
it.
Shannon, I definitely know. Well, somebody has to do it. It's a hard topic, but I would put it this way, and that's where again we have a lot in common with sheds and carports. Um, just that it's been the wild, wild west here in our industry, and
Yeah.
and that's where we need to build that trust again, that loyalty to the brand, because if I send you a lead and you're just going to send it, you're just going to give it to the lowest bidder, it's really, it hurts the relationship. And also, if you want someone to succeed, you, you gotta, see where the real value is at. Sometimes these, and there's a lot of shed dealers that have experience from other lots. I've had multiple dealers say, "Hey, I used to sell for so and so. I saw that it was a good opportunity. He gave me my shot. He taught me everything I know, and as long as I wasn't in the same town, he said, go for it. Open up your new lot." And then the carports come in, and that's where um, you get to hear more about other experiences. But if I send you a lead, I would want you to go with it 100%. Give us our opportunity, and I know we can really help you, because it's anybody can make a quick sale, but if you do it the right way, you have customers that are willing to pay a little bit more, because they value that trust that they're giving you, that you're going to bring in good quality work and that you're going to live up to their expectations, to what you promised, right? So we do need to rekindle that loyalty, that, when it was a fresh industry, that you said, you know what, no, I'm sticking to them. They gave me a shot, because otherwise, uh, it'll probably go to a little bit towards where some of the bigger players are in the shed industry are going towards, so a little bit more corporate, and you're going to see less actual dealerships out there. And at the end of the day, we want everybody to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned earlier, if we can have dealers who trust us just as much as we trust them with our hard-earned dollar, hey, that's a win-win situation for both of us, because I'm going to make sure that everything that's under my control, from when I get that email. I was going to say fax, because we used to do a lot of fax back in the day.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what,
And
if you end up partnering with some shed manufacturers, you may still get some of those facts. That
there you
still
go.
is a
Hey,
very real thing.
I'm ready. I still got a fax line for my dad,
There you
but
go.
no, so that's where we can really, turn the ship, um, because we really depend on each other. Look, something else that I feel that's very important is that um, you dedicate your time to what you're doing. So, for any shed dealer that's out there, I would say don't give up posting ads, advertising your business, any
Mm-hmm.
opportunity you get. You know, if what I would like to do, I sold sheds before. I'm actually just opened up another lot here locally, because I like working with people. So I used to like to take pictures with them whenever when if I could drive
Mm-hmm.
to their house when it was installed. I'll take them a little sign that said, "I love my shed," and take a picture. Whatever opportunity you get, even if it sounds cheesy, be proud of what you're doing. And you never know. You might get the big fish, somebody that needs 10, 20 buildings, or that big cabin you know, that's that 16 by 40 cabin. But
Mm-hmm.
have faith in yourself. Have faith in who believed in you. Uh, and I guarantee you things are going to work out. Um, you know, whenever, again, I think we talked about this, but if you're thinking about a carport, get into the carport industry and you have sheds, I would say jump on it. Jump on it fast, because it's going to give you a little bit extra money to keep that cash flow going throughout the month, and focus 100% on your sheds too. Any chance you get, is it's in the evening, start pushing those ads. Don't stop at it. And things will return to you. That hard work you put in, you're going to reap it. And these carports, they keep you alive. Eventually, you're going to have to hire somebody else just to take the carports. And
It helps bring
just
in
don't
business
don't give
too.
up.
It helps
Sometimes
bring in
it's the easiest.
customers.
Yeah, it's the easiest thing to do. Yeah, yeah, no, and one happy customer is going to bring in another. The neighbor is going to ask who got it, and it just keeps on going. And at the end of the day, you find out that price isn't everything. It has, of course, it's everybody's still going to be within a range from one another, but it's not the deciding factor. And and
Because the
ultimately,
two
they trust
products
you.
don't compete, also because they don't really compete, it's really nice, Caesar, when somebody comes in looking at a steel building and they say, oh, well, I realize I need a shed. And that happens vice versa. You find people who think they want a shed and they end up need. And I understand it's easy for the manufacturer to say, well, we only want you to sell our product. But I think you as a business owner want to help the customer find the right thing. And I think what this does is we have a saying around here, rising tide lifts all boats. And we tend to believe that, yeah, okay, maybe I lost a shed sale, but also gained two shed sales when somebody else came in because they were looking for a steel building. I think at the end of the day, it's also, as a business, it's your right to sell whatever you want to sell. If you want to throw furniture out there, or dog houses, or
Mhm.
pergola, or gazebos, or other products that complement what you do, I think that's ultimately up to you. And you have to work that relationship out with the provider of the products that you're selling so that there's a clear understanding of what that is. But there's enough out there for all of us. I feel like a lot of times we're all competing with the wrong thing. We're selling storage, and I think, and I'm not going to call them an enemy because they're a frenemy. They're our friends. Don't get me wrong, but like those self storage, units dwarf portable storage or steel buildings. I mean, it's such a large industry that like if you're in a HOA or, and you can't have a shed or steel building, I understand that. But for the most part, these are our customers. We're trying to give them a backyard solution, as opposed to having to go down to the local storage place and throw their stuff in there. This gives them comfortable ownership in their backyard of a product that they can call their own. I love both products, and I have seen some of the inconsistencies you talked about. And I don't know if you can believe this or not, but we're 55 minutes in, and an hour flies by when you're having fun. I want to wrap it up here soon, but I want to have you back for round two. I love your thoughts and your ideas on some of these different things. I love integrating the steel buildings more into the shed conversation. I feel like the products complement each other so well. Here's what I want to ask you, and I know for those that are still listening, you know, I'm assuming you're accepting dealers. And if that's the case, what is your pitch to these dealers? Where are you located, and where are you looking to grow?
So thank you for asking, Shannon. Yes, we're currently looking for new dealers to join our team, our dealer network. We here going on 2 years now. We started going into Oklahoma. So anybody in Oklahoma that's interested in teaming up with us, shed dealers or, I would say feed stores, hardware stores, if you feel you have a good customer base, you'd like to give it a try, we'd like to talk to you. Now we cover most of Texas. We're in we're approximately 30 minutes south of Dallas, Kemp, Texas. That's where our manufacturing plant is at, and we work down to Houston, Angleton. Um, we actually work there at 30 minutes away from the coast where we have to certify buildings up to 155-mile-per-hour winds. Um, all of from there over to San Antonio, the Permian Basin, and clear up to Oklahoma. So anybody in that area, we'd like to hear from you. Saying you don't have to be an established business. If you feel that there's a need in your area for these buildings, you got the energy and you can give us an opportunity. I would be the one training you. I'll meet with you in person and set you up to succeed. Now, also, I guess with the conversation we had today, I'm definitely looking forward to talking to you more and letting you know more about my personal insights on where this industry is heading. But ultimately, the future belongs to dealers and the manufacturers who focus on partnerships. Partnerships, quality, service, and long-term sustainability. That's why choosing the right company matters because the future of both of our industries is in your hands. All right. It's
I
in your
love it.
hands.
I love the energy. I love the clarity. I love gosh, I wish, like I sold buildings, steel buildings years ago here in Illinois. I wish you had a location here. Man, I would have ate it up. I would have loved this opportunity because we did get a little bit of and they're good companies. I'm not going to mention them by name. We're about positivity here. We're not wanting to, create a negative environment, but we did have some situations where it was, here's a book, see you later. Here's a display or two. Let's hope you figure it out and do well. And if you do, you'll get more of our attention. But if you don't, we're going to come get them and move on. And we just struggled so hard. We drove to the facility. We wanted to meet the people that were running the show. We wanted to have that relationship with the people in the office that were doing the boots on the ground work. We wanted to establish that kind of care and relationship with people. And like you can take that approach, or you can say, bring them over. I'll see what I can do. I'll do my best. And like, I don't know. I prefer a rifle approach where you can, focus on the target you want to hit instead of a shotgun approach that just says, shoot it and let's hope we hit something. I liked working
Right.
with people who are very intentional, who heard what we had to say about marketing, who heard what we had to say about customer relationships, and who heard what we would say about building crews. I'll tell you what, I made that joke about, bonfires and beer cans left. That wasn't even at a customer. That was at a manufacturer that was going to start selling. This manufacturer immediately was like, I do not have any interest in selling these anymore if this is the customer's experience from the crew whenever they show up. So you can shoot yourself in the foot right off the bat, just trying to get going. And I know everything's not perfect, and I know that we don't live in a utopian society where all of these things are going to get solved overnight. People are people, crews are crews. They're trying to make a living too, but I do think that the consummate professional who's aiming to be better, to do better, whether you're selling sheds or steel buildings or whatever, I look, I'm so interested. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm so interested in knowing you more. And I want to continue the call even after the podcast. If someone wants to find out more about you, like we've got you down as castlebuildings.com, is that the best place for them to reach out?
Yes, you can easily, there's contact forms there on our website, www.castlebuildingsinc.com. There's a chat bot where we can get to you easily. But you also can call us directly, 903-498-8899. That's right off the bat. You can start speaking to one of our reps and one of our customer service representatives, so you can see, who you'd be talking to, who your customers would talk to. Website's great to go to again because it has more information there. But if you're on Facebook, um, we're constantly uploading projects. We try to do 1 or 2 posts a day. So Facebook's another good way to contact us. Someone's always on there checking up messages or just creating new content to let our customers know and dealers know what we have available, probably custom projects that we're all working on. So that's Castle Metal Buildings Inc. And again, our website is www.castlebuildingsinc.com. Please reach out. We'd love to talk to you.
And if all else fails, just give us a call over here. Check out our newsletter. Send us, fill out a lead form. Give me a call, an email, whatever. I'll be happy to put you in touch with Cesar. Cesar, I've really appreciated the conversation today, and I think we need to do another one of these, man. I think we can continue to explore some of the connectivity between sheds and steel buildings. I've got some ideas. Stay on here a little bit. We're going to say goodbye to the guest today, but I got a feeling we'll hear more from you in the future. For those of you who tuned in to listen today, thank you so much. I appreciate Cesar for being on here today. Wish you guys nothing but the absolute best as you continue your endeavors. And I've certainly enjoyed getting to know you here today.
Thank you, Shannon. Likewise.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast. A quick thank you to our studio sponsor, ShedPro. Head over to shedpro.co/ShedGeek and take their free shed sales audit. It takes just a few minutes and it gives you a clearer picture of what's going on underneath. Thank you for listening as always. And thank you, ShedPro, for being this year's Wednesday studio sponsor on the Shed Geek podcast.